Water covers most of our planet. Its depths are unexplored, monstrous aquatic inhabitants, are real treasures, warning messages, and even ancient states. All this is hidden from our eyes. But during a drought, reservoirs reveal their secrets to people in this video. I have collected 15 amazing and mysterious things found in rivers after a catastrophic decrease in water levels. Pleasant viewing. In October 2021, a woman named Crystal Foster with her family. She went to collect stones on the banks of the shallow Mississippi River. Then she found bones that, in her opinion, looked like human bones. The woman immediately contacted the police and reported the incident to the chief medical examiner, who confirmed that the bones really belonged to a person. The remains included the lower jaw, ribs, and other unidentified bone fragments. The police began an investigation in January 2022. It was still possible to identify the person whose remains were found. He turned out to be a 50-year-old resident of Mississippi, Michael Moffett, a man who went missing back in 2020. The circumstances of his death remain. In September 1944, about 200 German warships were sunk near Krakow in the Danube Gorge by order of the commander of the fleet. The soldiers intentionally, they sank their ships fleeing from the offensive of the Red Army, and thereby blocking the passage through the Danube, now many ships of the Red Army, and thereby blocking the passage through the Danube. Second World War are in museums, but some of them remain underwater. In the summer of 2022, the large Danube River has shallowed to a record level, and military vessels that were flooded back in the 44th year to this day have appeared out of the water. The place remains dangerous because, along with the submerged ships, there are many explosive devices on the bottom of the river. Local residents are seriously concerned about this. Now, the Serbian authorities are planning to dispose of the wreckage of ships and mine clearance, a dangerous area. In the western part of Antarctica, scientists, while observing the acceleration of the movement of glaciers, accidentally discovered a new river. Its length is 460 km, which exceeds the length of the Thames and Wonga. But the discovery did not become joyful because the movement of the river provokes the melting of glaciers. Already now, the average temperature in this part of Antarctica has increased by 9 degrees. Now scientists are busy searching for other rivers hidden from the eyes under the ice. On May 21, 2011, New Yorkers discovered a strange creature under the Brooklyn Bridge. It was very large. The body resembled a snake and was covered with fish scales, and the head had a resemblance to a pit bull. A photo of the monster scattered on the internet. Users began to express their guesses about its origin. Some considered the find an underwater monster and others an alien creature. A little later, experts calmed people and they stated that the monster is actually a large Atlantic cedar. These fish are really large in size. Their body length can reach 3 meters. A resident of Louisiana, Patrick Ford, was keen on finding artifacts on the river Mississippi. On October 2, 2022, he decided to take a walk in the area of shallow areas. A man noticed an incomprehensible large object from afar and came closer. Just imagine how amazed he was when he discovered that wreckage of a large merchant ship of the 19th century. Patrick Ford contacted experts and told about his find. This news interested the famous archaeologist of Mississippi, Chip McGisney. Chip said that the found ship was called Brookhill and was a night ferry. The ship was built back in 1896 during a storm. In 1915, the ship sank. During a period of intense heat in Spain, the water level in the A reservoir has dropped significantly. As a result, the world was able to see the ruins of an ancient Roman military camp that were hidden underwater for the first time. This camp was found in 1920 during the Roman Empire. Structures served as temporary barracks for Legion soldiers for more than 20 years. The archaeologist has been excavating this area, but the authorities decided to build a reservoir here and the ancient Roman camp was completely flooded now. Archaeologists have been able to start studying ancient structures and searching for valuable artifacts again. The bronze head of Emperor Hadrian is now kept in the British Museum in 1834. It was found in London in the River Thames. Hadrian of the Antonine dynasty was emperor of the Great Roman Empire from 117 to 130. Hadrian is considered the third of the 5 good emperors. He was a talented military commander, traveler, and art lovers. Thanks to the Emperor of Great Britain, Hadrian's Wall was built, which helped prevent the raids of the Picts and the Brigantes of the north. After Hadrian's visit and the construction of the wall in memory of the emperor, a bronze statue was installed in only part of it. The head found in the Thames has survived to this day. The artifact was found damaged on the left side of the head. There was a large hole. The pupils were also damaged. The head itself seemed to have been cut off from the main part of the statue. Despite this, the artifact has a very great value. In ancient times, people believed in omens sent by the stars and the forces of nature. Now we rely more on science. However, hunger stones are still an indicator of extreme drought to this day. Hunger stones are kind of messages from the past left on the stones. Records can be dated both by the past, decades, and many hundreds of years ago, but they are united by the fact that they appear from the water during periods of severe drought. Drought has always had a negative impact on the harvest. The health of livestock and transport. European regions were very dependent on all this. Respectively, drought. In the past centuries, it always meant famine, which is why people left alarming notes on the stones so that their descendants would be warned about the coming difficult period. For example, some of them had the following words: 1947 year of famine, 1417, the water in the river almost disappeared. And others in 2022 in Europe, it was a very hot summer. The water level in the rivers began to decrease rapidly. Those appeared out of the water. The Elbe and Rhine rivers in the Czech Republic and Germany suffered the most from the drought, where alarming records on the stones were found in very large numbers. During a severe drought in Italy, a very valuable archaeological Nakadka, the bridge built during the reign of Nero became the 5th the Roman emperor in 54 AD at the age of 16 and continued to rule for 14 years. He was recognized as a cruel ruler, but thanks to him, many victories were won, and a large number of structures were built. Scientists do not undertake to assert the fact that the bridge was built at the direction of the Neuron. Perhaps it was built before his reign and only reconstructed during these years, however, are not reduces the value of the find during the reign of the 5th emperor. It was on this bridge that military parades and celebrations were held, and with its help, many famous personalities of that era crossed the river. Now, during the drought, local residents and tourists can observe the historical heritage dating back to the 1st century AD. During the drought in 2022, not only Europe was affected, but also several states. America's record high air temperature in Texas caused the shallowing of the Palouse River. The water level became critically low. It was during this period that traces of strange creatures that were previously hidden underwater were discovered. Analyzing this find, scientists concluded that they belonged to dinosaurs that lived more than 100 million years ago. These were not the only traces of extinct creatures found in the Park Dinosaur Valley, Glen Rose. But a find it turned out to be really unexpected. It turns out that the tracks belong to a lot dinosaurs, including the carnivorous reptile Acrocanthosaurus, which lived in the early Cretaceous period. Traces of another dinosaur, the dinosaur Poseidon, were also found in the park. This animal was truly gigantic in size, 18 em, tall and weighing about 44 tons. Many dinosaur tracks can be found in the park around it, but unfortunately, they will soon be wiped off the face of the earth forever. Iraq is one of the countries for which the drought is turning into a real catastrophe. So to combat the consequences of the heat, The authorities decided to take water after that. The water level dropped significantly from the reservoir in the city of Mosul, and in 2018, the ruins of an ancient city were discovered on this territory. Archaeologists immediately came to this place and began excavations. It turned out that the destroyed buildings were part of the city of Zahik, which is part of the state of Throwing. The buildings found were built more than 3,400 years ago because the city is hidden underwater and the reservoir periodically replenished. Archaeologists are forced to conduct their research only during a drought so that the ruins and scientists covered them with a plastic dome during the excavations. Many artifacts were found, including vessels with local ornaments and tablets with inscriptions in Nahuatl and Akkadian languages. All these finds allowed us to learn more about the ancient state and its inhabitants. The Mosul Reservoir is not the only place that preserves the secrets of ancient civilizations. The Tigris and Euphrates, in ancient times, were full-flowing rivers. The land in the valley of these two rivers was incredibly fertile, and it was in this place that the cradle of human civilization. Mesopotamia was located due to its convenient location. The ancient region was rapidly developing. People no longer needed to roam. They were engaged in cattle breeding and agriculture. A little later, a well-thought outriding appeared. Architecture and even government gradually began to form real cities now on the territory of the lands of Mesopotamia. Iraq is located in northeastern Syria, the periphery of Turkey and Iran. Unfortunately, the previously full-flowing Tigris-Euphrates rivers are gradually beginning to dry up. This picture clearly shows that only a thin line remains in place of the previously full basin. The drought in the summer of 2022 led to the fact that the water level in the rivers reached a critical minimum. And if the trend continues in 2040, they made it as hard to believe that it is completely dry. And this assumption is very sad because thanks to these rivers, the greatest civilization was born in ancient times. The abnormal summer heat of 2022 did not leave Italy aside. The water level in the Po River dropped catastrophically on the dried bottom. Local fishermen discovered a real bomb weighing 450 kg, which was flooded during the Second World War. The authorities decided to immediately evacuate 3,000 people from nearby settlements and dispose of the bomb during the operation. The air was closed on this territory. Space and stopped transportation. The found bomb was defused and taken to one of the quarries where it was destroyed. The bomb in the Po River is only one of many others that are now underwater and pose a real danger. In the 17th century in Europe, people believed in witchcraft and were afraid of witches. It was believed that in every generation, there was at least one person associated with dark forces and capable of imposing terrible damage. For this reason, people began to protect themselves from witchcraft with the help of a witch bottle. Witch bottles may seem a simple amulet, but their contents were not so harmless. For example, inside a witch bottle found in the walls of an old pub in England, there was a mixture of human blood, urine, and teeth recently on a dried-up section of the Mississippi River. On a dried-up section of the Mississippi River, man was searching for items left over from the Second World War. Quite by chance, he managed to find a witch bottle. He decided to examine its contents and found inside strange liquid human hair, tooth, and small insects. When he brought his find home, his family urged him to return the bottle to the same place where he found it. 15-year-old teenager George Tyndall was passionate about finding artifacts and dreamed of finding a real treasure chest, surprisingly. But he almost succeeded. In April 2022. The teenager and his father explored the bottom of the Withy River in Grantham. With the help of strong magnets, they managed to get a safe out of the water. When they were able to open it, it turned out that there were 2,500 Australian dollar certificates inside, gun ownership, and bank cards in the name of Rob Everett, the term of which expired back in 2004. George and his father decided not to leave. They contacted Rob Everett and informed about the safe rob turned out to be the heads of a large company, and the safe was stolen from his office. The businessman was pleasantly surprised by the honesty of the Tyndale family. He gave them a reward and promised George to provide a position after graduation. India is home to two species of very large crocodiles, marsh and crested length. The bodies of male swamp crocodiles reach 3.5 meters, and combed crocodiles can grow to a length of more than 5 meters. Such reptiles are very dangerous and often attack people during a drought period in April. 2022. A 20-year-old guy named Deepu came to visit his relatives living near the Catastrophic Reserve together with his cousin. I went for a walk along the canal bank. Then Deepu decided to get closer to the water to relieve himself. Suddenly, a huge crocodile appeared from the canal, which he grabbed the guy by the legs and dragged him under the water. His cousin hurried for help, but the villagers who arrived at the scene could not fix anything. No one dared to look for the remains of the deceased, because there are a lot of crocodiles in the canal. So if you suddenly find yourself near a pond where dangerous reptiles live, do not come close to the water every year, for more than 1,500 people are killed by crocodile attacks. If you like this video, rate it by subscribing to the channel and click on the bell. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Bye.